The impeachment inquiry finally has been announced. What's your reaction?
So having served on active duty in the United States military, I take national security very seriously and know how important critical aid to our allies like Ukraine is. And the President of the United States stopped that critical military aid. And then a few days later, he calls the Ukrainian leader and he admits on national TV that he asked that leader to investigate Biden. That is a very serious allegation. We're going to investigate it. And if it's true, then I believe it constitutes a high crime and misdemeanor.
But do we know that it was actually a quid pro quo? I mean, is there any specific evidence that points to the fact that it was a quid pro quo other than sort of suspicious timing? And is that good enough for impeachment?
Right. So simply calling a foreign power to ask them to get dirt on your political opponent is illegal. That's a violation of the campaign finance laws. It's a felony. In addition, with the timing of the call, we know that Donald Trump halted the military aid to Ukraine. They provided no reason to Congress why they did that. So the Ukrainian leader very fully understood during that call that the president had halted the aid to his country. And you see Donald Trump using that as leverage to ask the Ukrainian leader to investigate Biden.
The president is vowing to release the transcript now of that call. He's criticizing Democrats for going forward with this inquiry before he even released the transcript. Why not wait for him to release the transcript and then go forward based off of what you see?
Because the president already admitted on national TV that he had a call with a foreign power and asked that foreign power to investigate his political opponent. That by itself is illegal. In addition, we know based on undisputed facts that the White House had halted aid to Ukraine during the summer prior to this call, and we're going to be investigating because we know that both parts of these things are very, very bad, and we think that if this is true, then it could be, again, a high crime and misdemeanor.
Speaker Pelosi has avoided the impeachment issue so far, partly because she knows that she doesn't have the votes in the Senate. Republicans have not expressed a willingness to do this, so you could convict in the House. It goes to the Senate doesn't convict him, and then the president's still in office. What's the end game here if Republicans in the Senate are not willing to convict the president?
This is a very different and new allegation that the president asked the Ukrainian leader to essentially dig up dirt on Biden. And it's what's caused the entire U.S. Senate, the Republican-controlled Senate, to do a unanimous consent resolution to get the whistleblower complaint. So we now know that Republicans in the Senate also view this as a very serious matter, and I think this takes it to a whole new level, and we're really in uncharted territory right now.
But what do you think it would take for them to actually vote to convict, to convince Republicans to turn on the president? Because there hasn't been a lot of evidence of that, has there?
So if the whistleblower complaint shows that the president called the Ukrainian leader and told him to investigate Biden, that's very serious. We also know from the backdrop of this that it's in the context of Donald Trump stopping military aid to Ukraine at a time when Ukraine is continually getting attacked by Russian hybrid military forces. I think this is such a serious allegation that you see the Republican Senate now taking action to get the whistleblower complaint. And again, it's a whole new level we're in, and we wait to see what happens with the evidence that will come out.
So how specifically does this change things? Because there are already 6 different committees that were investigating the president. Those investigations will now continue. How specifically does having it be an impeachment inquiry change what you do in your job?
Well, so 2 things changed today. One is that the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, formally called for impeachment inquiry of all 6 committees. Prior to this, it was just a Judiciary Committee, and now we have all the 6 committees looking into impeachable offenses. We also have over 200 Democrats have now come on board saying they support such an impeachment inquiry. And the second thing that changed is the Republican-controlled Senate went on record saying we want this whistleblower complaint that the White House has for a long time been denying to Congress, even though the law required us to get it.
So there are some who think, you know what, we're about to enter an election year. Why not just let the American people decide this at the ballot box next year? Why go through all of this while you're in the middle of a presidential campaign? What do you say to that?
That's an absolutely valid reason. And the difference we have here is the Inspector General, who already did a preliminary investigation of the whistleblower complaint, as he does with all complaints, has labeled this complaint urgent, and he wants Congress to see it. That is what sets us apart, because there is an urgency to this. And again, you have the president trying to invite a foreign power to meddle in elections again. That also is something that calls into question next year's elections, if you have the president repeatedly trying to have our elections being influenced by foreign powers.
So bottom line for you, why does President Trump deserve to be impeached?
Well, if the whistleblower allegations are true, he deserves to be impeached because he asked a foreign power to investigate his political opponent. That is wrong on so many levels. It's also illegal, and we are all Americans. We don't invite foreign powers to meddle in our elections to get dirt on our political opponents. That's why we have the impeachment clause in the United States Constitution, to make sure that Americans run our own democracies and our own democratic system, and we don't have foreign powers try to influence it.
Are you concerned on what this could do to Congress, though? Does this essentially shut everything else down because all the attention is all going to be about this instead of governing or trying to get other things done?
No, we're going to continue to do both things, which is investigate as well as legislate. So tomorrow, actually, I don't know if it's tomorrow, but we're going to have very soon an assault weapons ban hearing in the Judiciary Committee.
And for those who say that this is going to play into the president's hands politically, if he is acquitted in the Senate, he can say, look, they spent all this time and money investigating me. Nothing happened to me. It actually makes me stronger. What say you?
Again, that's another very valid reason. So we have to weigh all these equities, and a lot depends on the evidence we're going to get from the whistleblower complaint. And I also would like to see the whistleblower testify in Congress as well.
And there are indications that that whistleblower wants to testify before Congress, which would be something to see. Congressman Ted Lieu, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Elex.